Okay, just a quick review of the buttons. The home page is where you'll see every time you log into the course. So make sure you're keeping track of the calendar and what's due and keeping up with your due dates. And the last button I talked about was discussion board. So now let's talk about pen casts and movies made by me. So I make movies to maybe go over problems that everybody finds difficult. For instance, when you get to the bookcase problem, almost everybody has a hard time with the bookcase problem. So I've made a video showing how I solve the bookcase problem. And I'd love to see other solutions. So if you come up with a different way, you can write it up and send it to me, and I'd love to see that. There's systems of equations that some of them are kind of challenging, and so I made a video about them. Polynomial long division, an intro to chapter 6. So this is some movies that I've made in the past for Math A, and then also, as I mentioned before, I can make customized videos to send to you when you have a question. So please don't hesitate to ask a question, and I'm happy to make a little movie to answer it. So the other thing I want to show you is this advice from previous online students. And I don't make this stuff up. This is advice from my fall 2015 students. It was for my spring 2016 students. I didn't have spring 2016 Math A students, so I can't give you an advice from them. But I think you'll find this useful. I don't have a discussion board topic about it like I usually do, but I would really hope that you would come look at some of this advice. This is from other students, and some of them were successful and some of them weren't, so I think it's really helpful to hear from both. The button that says geometry formulas has some formulas that you need to memorize. So you need to know area and perimeter of a square, area and perimeter of a rectangle, area of a triangle, and area and circumference of a circle. So we'll run into those later in the text when we get into the geometry problems. There's just a few. And then these are formulas you should know how to use, but if I wanted you to find the volume of a sphere, I would give you this equation, and you just need to know how to use it. So this is just a resource sheet here. Then I have a website. I don't think you'll need to use it very often. I use this more for my on-ground courses, but I wanted you to know it's here. And this is one of the ways to get to free graph paper. So if you need graph paper, you can either download this little graph paper software that's free and make your own graph paper exactly how you want it. And it makes music paper even. So if you have a need to make music paper, it's pretty awesome. And then there's some pre-made graph papers here. So if you just want to make a full sheet of this size grid, you can print this out. You will need graph paper for the class. So you either need to print some out or buy some. And you'll probably need about at least 10 sheets. So you might want to get a pad of graph paper or just print it out if you have a way to do that. Midterm preparation. This is advice that I will update for your class. This is from last spring still, but I will update the dates on it, and this will be advice for how to be successful on your midterm. The final exam review is not going to be available yet, but it will, and there'll be an extra credit assignment available that you can do when you turn in your final exam. So those are all the important things I want you to know about my math lab. So let's go ahead and look at the course documents, and here's the welcome letter. So some important details from the welcome letter. Do you have at least 24 hours each week in your time budget for this class? If you don't, you should really think hard about whether it's going to work for you. It takes a significant amount of time to do an online math course, and it really needs to be done pretty much daily in the summer. You can't take very many days off or you will get behind. So I have a checklist of things I want you to do before the first Monday of the class. So it starts next Monday, 6/13, and by the following Monday, I have a list of things I want you to do. So my deadlines are always 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And just another note that you need to make progress in my math lab at least every 3 days or risk being dropped for non-attendance. I will nag you. You'll see. Please assume I'll be reasonable and accommodating, though, and contact me if you're having a problem with getting logged in often enough. So here's the checklist for all the students of things that I really need you to do. You have to purchase access for the MyMathLab software. You can either buy the bundle at the bookstore, or you can purchase access online at the pearsonmylab.com website. You have to have the software. You don't have to have a book, but the book's available pretty inexpensively anywhere. It's an older edition, so it's not very expensive. And if you buy through Pearson, you don't get a book, you just get the software, but you can get a refund if you need to. And if you don't have money to pay for the software right away, at the bottom of the payment screen, you have to scroll down and find it. They didn't make it easy. There is an option for 14 days of free temporary access. So please do that if you are having financial issues that you can't pay right away. Don't wait to get started in the course. So if you've used MyMathLab before, you already have an account, so please use your same username and password. And if you've used MyMathLab for Math A in the past, you don't have to purchase access again. So we already have one student in the class that's been able to get enrolled again without having to pay because she was a previous student in a MyMathLab Math A course. So please let me know if you're having any trouble with that. The course ID you need, we already discussed that, but just a reminder, Hill 10677. Unfortunately, the numeral 1 looks just like the letter L in this font. So make sure you put Hill, H-I-L-L, and then 10677. And that will get you access to the MyMathLab software, but it doesn't enroll you in the Sierra College course if you're hoping to add. So you have to be enrolled in two places, Sierra College and MyMathLab. If you want an add code, I want you to go into MyMathLab and get started to show me you're serious, and then I give add codes. But I will add everyone who gets busy and starts working in the software. Enter your name when you're registering in the first letter capitalized and the rest not, and please spell carefully. It's hard to change this, practically impossible. And your email, I send lots of emails, and I expect that you'll be reading them, and so I want you to use an email that you check often. I don't care what email it is, but make sure it's one that you checked often. We need to be in communication. Then the next thing you need to do is complete at least 70% of each section of homework for Chapter 1 in MyMathLab. Take Quiz 1 and Quiz 2 and pass them. If you can't pass Quiz 1 and Quiz 2, you probably need to do some serious reviewing before you'll be ready to do MyMathLab at the pace of the summer class. Then click on the discussion board and introduce yourself to the class. And then I want you to send me an email so that we're in contact. So you send me an email, and I want you to include this information, your name, as it will appear on my roster. So not a nickname. If you have a married name and a maiden name, please tell me the one that will be on my roster so I can find you. Sometimes the MyMathLab name and the MySierra roster name don't match up, so help me find you. I want you to look in the Learning Aids button in MyMathLab and look in Chapter 1, Section 1.1. Click Select All and Find Now, and tell me all the different types of learning aids that are available, so I know that you've checked them and you know where they are and you know what's available to help you learn. Then I want you to tell me where you're going to take your in-person proctored midterm the week of July 7 to 14 and your final exam the week of 7/28 to 8/4. So your choices are the Rockland Campus Testing Center, the Nevada County Campus Library has a testing center, Tahoe Truckee has a testing center, or other. If you're not in the Sierra College area, you can take your test at another testing facility. Warning, they often charge fees as high as $20 an hour, and you would be responsible for paying any fees. And you also have to give me information so that I can contact the testing center in advance. I'd appreciate a very short autobiography of your math experience. Anything you want to share, good or bad. And if you're comfortable sharing it, what will be the biggest challenge you'll have to overcome to complete this class successfully? I just really want to know, what are you battling with, and what is making it tough for you to be successful, so I can be supportive for you. If you're not enrolled in the course and you're on the wait list, I need proof of that you've met the prerequisite, otherwise it wastes the ad code. Ad codes don't work if you haven't met the prerequisite. So you either need to have passed Math 582 with a grade of C, or have gone to the counseling center and gone through the assessment process and have an assessment result that says you're eligible for Math A. You can just send me a picture or a screenshot of your MySierra transcript, and that's good enough. But I do need something that shows that you've met the prerequisite for the course. So here's my contact information. I don't check my office phone very often during the summer. Feel free to call my home phone. It goes to a recorder, but I check it often. I have 2 emails, my school email, and then I use a PacBell email for my math lab, so that the emails from online students don't get jumbled in with my college email. Then I also have a Skype account if you'd like to Skype with me. I'd be happy to do that. We can make an appointment and I'll make myself available so that we can talk sort of face to face. So I'm really looking forward to working with you, and that's the welcome letter that I'll also be sending you in an email shortly. So the MyMathLab instructions sheet that I'll send you just has all the details for how to sign in that we already went through. It's easier to tell on this page that it's HILL and then a 10677. So if you have any trouble at all getting registered for the course, please contact me and I'd be happy to help with that. The instructions for the course, if you look at the steps here, you can get an idea of what the routine is. So I want you to set up a math notebook, and then I would suggest watching the section video lecture, then read the section in the textbook, then do the homework and take a mini quiz. Once you've done all the homework that's on a numbered quiz, you can take a practice numbered quiz. You can check out your study plan and then take the numbered quizzes. The numbered quizzes are worth 10 times as much as the mini quizzes. They are the thing that are worth the most in the online portion of the course, so please spend lots of time and energy on them. And then the midterm and the final exam. So if you have any questions about the sequence to proceed in, just let me know and I'll be happy to guide you. The syllabus is also here, and I really hate reading the syllabus too, so I'm not going to do that. But I just want to show you some of the things that are here. This is important. It's your responsibility to make sure you have internet access. Not having internet access is not going to be an acceptable reason for missing a deadline. So make sure you have a plan A, a plan B, your neighbor, Starbucks, have options so that you don't get stuck up against a deadline with no way to get your assignment in. Here's some other important things. The homework has due dates, but you can work on it after the due date. You receive 75% credit for any homework worked on after the due date. Quizzes are different. Quiz due dates are deadlines, and you cannot work on them after the deadline. So make sure you're paying attention to those deadlines and getting the work done. Show work homework assignments. I'll talk more about. I'm going to make a video about working in Canvas and the things that I want for you to do in Canvas. So there's about half a dozen assignments where I want you to work on paper, on graph paper, and take pictures and upload into Canvas so I can give you feedback on your graphing work before the midterm happens. So here are the weights of the various parts of the class right here. This is the grading policy. So the homework and discussion boards are 15% of your grade. There's 15 quizzes, 51 mini quizzes, one for each section, but you can see they're only worth 5% all together. So each one is worth about 0.1%, whereas the weekly quizzes are worth, the numbered quizzes are worth 1%. So that's 10 times as much. The midterm is worth 30% and the final is worth 35%. So the in-person exams are worth 65% of your grade, so you really need to allow yourself plenty of time to study for them. The time budget is not a dream. It's 24 to 32 hours each week. Not kidding. Many students don't believe me at first, and then they get into it and they realize it really is this much. So please make sure you have an adequate time budget. And the next video I'm going to make is going to be about working in Canvas.